We'll proceed. Yeah. Mhm. Right, while we're waiting for Commissioner Hall to sign on, we will move forward. We do have a quorum, myself and Commissioner Miller. Recognition proclamations for recognition of service. We have Kyle Black, Darlin Bronson, Cindy Parr, John Parr, Hannah Watson, all with 10 years of service in the Departments of Public Works, Finance, HHS, and would you please come up if you are here? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have recognition of new employees. Who do we have from HR? Cody, come on up.
Good morning. My name is Cody Larson. I am the Recruitment and Compensation Specialist for Lincoln County. I have a couple of folks who are going to introduce themselves as new employees, and also Dwayne Berkland with Transit. He's a transit driver, PTMB. He was not able to make it. Come up.
Hello.
Yeah, sure. Come on up and then please have a seat.
And Lisa, could you make sure your buttons are ready?
Please sit down and let me get you in the chair.
It's okay. I'll go like this. No, it's okay.
We just want to make sure you have red buttons to make sure your mics are turned on.
Right.
And start again.
Who would like to go first?
Lisa Fields, Accounting Finance.
Thank you, Lisa.
Good morning. I'm Constance Cleese, and I am a payroll specialist with finance as well.
Okay.
Awesome.
And I'm Catherine Canan. I am the new juvenile probation.
Excellent.
Thank you for yours.
Oh. Okay. Thank you so much.
You know if those were able to get on the record, Ken? You know if those were able to get on the record or?
I can't tell. Probably want to do it again.
Okay. Can you do it again, please? Sorry about that.
Lisa Fields, Accounting Technician with the Finance Department.
Thank you, Lisa.
Constance Cleese. I am a payroll specialist with finance.
Thank you.
And Catherine Canan, a juvenile probation supervisor.
Thank you. It was,
For doing it again.
thank you for doing it again. It was great to meet you this morning and welcome to Lincoln County.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
There you go.
Oh, sorry. Can we get a picture of you up here, please?
Just over there by the whiteboard, please.
Oh.
Together, please.
Oh,
We're a team.
Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here, I've got a message to call Claire.
You. Chair, want to take a recess or?
You know what? While we're trying to get Commissioner Hall online, we will take a five-minute recess. All right. Going to reconvene the meeting. Thank you for. Now, we do have a full Board of Commissioners. Next item we have is the adoption of the consent calendar. Are there any items that any commissioners would like to be taken off the consent calendar or short discussion?
Yeah, Commissioner Chuck, for me, I would like to pull the personnel rules. My request is to move that into a discussion item, into a different meeting, potentially a work session as well. And then also forgive me, I would like to pull the minutes, need the opportunity to review those more thoroughly. But other than that, the consent calendar looks fine to me.
Which minutes are you asking for? All four?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so for the record, can you pull the records for the four meeting minutes for adoption at another time? And can we move the personnel to decisions for today?
Commissioner Chuck?
Yes,
Let's move that, or I request that be discussion, not decision and action.
we're going to put it on discussion and action. Chair Hall, are you wanting to have anything removed or discussed, taken off for discussion from the consent calendar?
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar with the items removed as Commissioner Miller has requested.
Okay, I'll take a second.
Okay, well, my motion is to move the minutes from the consent calendar completely, and I'm requesting that the personnel rules be moved to a separate meeting for discussion, not decision or action today, or discussion today, preferably.
Council?
Yeah, Commissioner Chuck, my request is that the personnel item can be moved to decision action today for discussion and possible action.
Okay, that's what we will do. Commissioner Miller made a motion. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, but that's not my motion.
Okay, please restate your motion.
Intent.
Can you restate your motion, Commissioner Miller?
Okay. My motion is to move the consent calendar item personnel rules to a different meeting for discussion, not decision or action today. That is my motion. Additionally, I would like to pull all 3 minutes to be reviewed by myself and back at a following meeting.
So just to clarify, there are 4 minutes that are included.
Thank you. All 4 minutes.
Okay, so my proposal is to move the 4 minutes to the November 26th meeting. I think that's the next meeting. And then the proposal is to move the personnel item to discussion or decision
You
action.
mean respectfully, counsel, you mean your recommendation? It's the board who's making the motions.
So to clarify, there's 4 minutes, Commissioner Chuck.
Yep.
Our next meeting is November 26th, so those can be moved on the consent item for that meeting. And recommendation from staff is that we move the personnel discussion to decision action for this meeting.
Okay, so Commissioner Miller, you are asking to have the 4 minutes moved to another meeting for
Correct.
further review.
Yes.
And then you're also asking for the personnel to be moved to a different meeting and not made for discussion.
Correct.
Commissioner Hall, are you clear on that?
Yes, I am. And in the interests of moving forward with the other business items on the consent calendar that need to be addressed, I will second Commissioner Miller's motion.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right.
Commissioner Chuck, just to be clear, Commissioner Hall made a motion for the remaining business items without the minutes and the personnel decision to be approved at this meeting.
Yes.
What is the decision on the personnel item? Is that
That's-
being?
No, that's
discussed?
not the motion.
So hold on. So Commissioner Hall made a motion that indicated that the remaining business items on consent were approved. What is going to be done with the personnel item? Is that being moved to decision action? Commissioner Chuck.
What is the staff recommendation?
Staff recommendation is that we move that to decision action for this meeting.
Okay, that's what we'll do.
Wow. Wow.
So we will have to, people will have to leave if they're disrupted.
Yeah. Please, no disruptions from the audience. Thank you. Next, we have a public hearing, decision action, order appointing the board as chair as acting county. Oh, sorry. We have staff reports, Community Services Consortium update presented by Ryan Vogt. Ryan?
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you so much for having me. For the record, my name is Ryan Vogt. I'm the Executive Director for the Cascades West Council of Governments, and I'm also the Executive Director for Community Services Consortium. Today, I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Community Services Consortium and the financial situation with that organization. I've provided for you a memo ahead of time that details some of the struggles about my experience thus far being the director there for about the last year. And talk to you a little bit about where the financial struggles are with the organization and what that may mean for you as commissioners and as board members for the organization. First, let me just share, I am not asking for money today. Let's make that part of the conversation a little bit easier. That being said, the organization is in relatively precarious fiscal straits. Any further disruptions in our cash flow could lend itself to me having an emergency request of the county commissioners in all 3 counties for cash infusion to make sure we stay afloat. But today, I'm not asking for money. And if all goes well, this is kind of a preemptive possible storm coming that never actually comes ashore. That's what we're hoping for today. So let's talk a little bit about the history of the organization. So Community Services Consortium is a community action agency that's a national model that was born out of the civil rights movement, really as anti-poverty agencies. As a result, we do a myriad of social services, largely aimed at assisting people who are below the federal poverty level for a variety of different programs to try and help not just in the moment, but also help people get back on their feet again and move into a place of economic security within their own life. Community Services Consortium does a lot of work in food support, in housing support, in utility assistance, weatherization assistance, helping people stay in their homes, and especially when hard times fall. But we have a relatively rare moniker of being a government entity. Most of them are nonprofit agencies. There are in the state only 2 other community action agencies that are government entities, and they are actually housed within the county structure, and that is Lane County's Community Action Agency and Clackamas County Community Action Agency. So we are the only standalone government entity that is actually formed to perform work on behalf of the 3 counties, Lynn, Benton, and Lincoln. And those other community action agencies that are embedded within their county structure, there's a vehicle for the counties to help them financially with some of the bodies of work that they take on to close the gap, because many of the bodies of work that we take on don't actually pay for themselves. We recently discovered one grant that we had been administering, where the grant itself had no administrative costs, so there was no way to pay for any staff or anybody else to do it, and it had a 100% match requirement. So what that meant was if it was a $100,000 grant, the agency had to put another $100,000 in just to do the work, and there was no money within that to pay for the people to do the work. So structurally, we've done a lot of organizationally, we've operated as a nonprofit, even though we are a government entity. And we have historically taken on a number of bodies of work that don't pay for the work to get done. And we are finding ourselves now in a bit of an identity crisis about what that might mean looking forward to the future. You will also see within the memo, and I know that all of you have been in tune with several of the board meetings as members of the board as well, but for the public's edification, that the organization has gone through a considerable amount of change and turmoil over the last 5 years, and specifically in the finance department. Over the last 5 years, now 6, we've had 5 different finance directors, and all of the finance staff, sans 2, have turned over at least once. Many of those positions have turned over multiple times. The current status of our finance team is that we have 3 people on board who have been on the team longer than a year. Many of our staff have been on 6 months or less. And I could make a verbal amendment to my memo in that from the time I wrote it to today, we had 2 more people join the team, one yesterday and one last week. But the team is very, very fresh. Also, during that period of time, we implemented a new enterprise software solution for maintaining our financial books, and we implemented a payroll solution year and a half ago. That payroll solution was largely untested and has been extremely problematic and continues to be so today. So all of that to say, we have suffered, and we fell 5 years behind in audits. So all that to say that at the finance team, I've got a new team, and I'll tell you what, some of these people are just fantastic. I think we are building a rock star team right now, but I can't buy experience. Experience comes with learning. Experience comes with pushing the button and seeing what happens when I do that. And so we are steadily, daily, weekly getting better, building some muscle memory, and we're getting through managing our financial processes every day. We've updated a number of policies. We've created division of duties. We've done a lot of great protective measures to make sure that we are sound fiscally in the future. But at the moment, we are still a bit precarious. So over the 5 years, with all of that turnover and all of that change, I would say the organization missed some opportunities. And what that looks like is we have found through some back audits that we missed opportunities to bill grants in a timely fashion and lost the opportunity to recover money that we spent on grants. We also had opportunities where we accidentally billed the wrong grants, and by the time that was discovered, it was a penalty payment for us because we weren't able to get that fixed. And we implemented some policies that were not favorable in terms of our ability to recover our own costs. Those have been changed, and we have now adopted the federal de minimis rate for our administrative overhead rate, which should put us on a pathway for beginning to rebuild our coffers. But 4 years ago, our coffers, in terms of the cash on hand at any given point in time, was about $8.5 million. Right now, our coffers at any given point in time is about $2.7 million. We are a $2.3 to $2.4 million monthly business. So if we have $2.7 million in the bank, we cannot suffer any major disruptions to our cash flow, or we will not be able to make it through an additional month. So that's just simple numbers to kind of put on the table what it is that we are working with right now. We do still have 2 audits where the 24 audit is not complete, and so we have not initiated the 25 audit yet. Basically, nobody on my finance team was here during that time, and so we are unsure what that may discover for us, but we recognize that that is a risk area where we may have further findings of lost opportunities during that time period that we'll have to figure out. And we are keeping a very close eye on things like the federal cash flow at the moment, which is not disrupting our business today, but if it were to extend another month, it could create some real problems for us. And we have embarked on a new body of work, health-related social needs, which is also called HRSN, and this is a Medicaid waiver body of work that allows for the recognition that people, particularly people who are homeless, have negative health outcomes as a result of that. And the state advocated with the federal government to be able to assist in new avenues for getting people into housing as part of an overall wellness strategy for long-term health conditions. That's a new body of work, and it's a new body of work for the entire state. That comes with its own bumps and bruises in terms of implementation. And we are doing that work. That work in and of itself will assist us in our long-term financial recovery. But since it is so new for everybody, it's a learning process in terms of being able to invoice timely and also in terms of being able to receive funds timely. That is one area that we are paying very particular attention to. We have at any given point in time $1 to $2 million worth of invoices outstanding on that. So this is an area where getting all of those invoices paid provides enough buffer zone for us not to continue having these conversations. Conversely, if we have any additional speed bumps with getting those paid, that's about $1 million a month we could run up and all of a sudden find ourselves not having the cash on hand to be able to continue to function. So all of that to say, I am watching our cash position 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I receive a report of our actual cash on hand, our receivables that are out, our payables that are out. So I know what our cash position is any given day. And it is improving, but it is precarious. And that's kind of the message I want to give you today. My sincerest hope is that I don't come back and have a conversation with you about being in an emergency need and asking for the counties to extend cash or credit in order for us to keep our doors open. And we are actively working this every day to make sure. It has been a daily process for me for the entire year that I've been here in terms of discovery of the financial issues and attending to them to make sure that we are more secure. But the board, the members of the board that were present 2 months ago did ask me to make sure that I was having this conversation directly with you in your Board of Commissioners meetings and on the record so that you were aware really more specifically where it is that we stand. I'm going to pause and see if you have any questions.
Commissioner Miller, do you have any questions for Mr. Vogt?
Well, just some initial comments. First is, thank you for coming in. Commissioner Chuck and I were at the last governance meeting, and the documentation that you provide, the details, the packet, all of that is just so transparent, and feel the stress that you're going through. So thanks for really being upfront about where it's going for you. And I think it's important, you're coming into us now to kind of talk about this, these financial matters, but I just want to be sure the community doesn't does not gloss over the deep services you provide to this community. And the counties. Can you talk a little bit, just briefly, about how those services really help people and, how vital it is for those individuals to receive these services?
Sure. I always love talking about the fingerprint that we have in the
Yeah.
community. So thank you for that offer, Commissioner. And forgive me for blending because I have this rare opportunity to be administering over both organizations, and that was an intentional input by well, really by the boards of both organizations to try and find ways to more seamlessly serve
Mm.
those people who are in need, who work for both. So we do a lot of work in Community Services Consortium does a lot of work in food security. Now, there is Lincoln County Food Share, who is not under our umbrella. We have the Lynn Benton Food Share, but I know that we partner very deeply with them and work very closely with them to make sure that the food stability happens within all three counties. An example of that is that we were able to partner recently on a large-scale purchase of food, anticipating what could be coming, which we are now realizing with the shut off of the SNAP benefits. And the Lincoln County Food Share needed to order some food in order to get up front, but they didn't have enough to fill an entire box truck. So their order would have been delayed by a number of weeks getting here to be part of a regular route. But Lynn Benton Food Share was able to join forces and buy the rest of a box truck so that we could get food into all three communities quicker. We're in the housing space. And while we are not currently running any of the shelter programs, we are a vehicle for moving money out to the shelter programs. We also do rent assistance, permanent supportive housing to try and help people transition into housing opportunities that also has wraparound services so that they can stay and help be successful in that narrative. Here in Lincoln County, we run the Head Start program, and we have offices in Newport, Lincoln City, and also in Toledo. And I think that all of us probably can agree that early childhood education is a strong indicator of long-term success. It is also a place where we can wrap families around with other supportive services while we are there. We do everything from youth programs where we're out doing fuel reduction in the forests to we administered programs to get money to victims of the Otis fires from 2020. And we're actually still working some of those programs. That money doesn't always come real fast. So one of the board members likes to refer to both organizations as really a friendly octopus because we kind of have our arms or our tentacles in a lot of different things. But I think by and large, if you think about what are the supportive services that somebody who falls below the poverty level, what are the supportive services that they need? If we don't administer it, we are still at the table with it. So kind of anything that people need who are particularly very low income, we're at the table.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that a lot. It's important people understand that food stability, housing and rent, Head Start, fire survivors. Ryan, if you're in a situation where you're not able to receive that kind of support, if it comes to this, can you envision at all what the triage might look like for your organization in terms of your service profile?
Yes. Obviously, this is one of the things that keeps me awake at night is trying to figure out if we were to have to move into more dire circumstances, what that might look like. I think there's a lot of potential options, and I wish to be a little bit careful about exploring those in a way that may make it look like those are decisions have been made. I think all of those decisions would be board decisions going forward. What I can tell you is what I'm working on to provide security right now. So our organization is primarily reimbursement based. We have at any given point in time about 200 grants in cycle. And most of those, we have to put the money out front and then ask for reimbursement. And there are lots of things that can go wrong with asking for reimbursement. So we are working with a number of our funders to try and get cash up front where we have demonstrated that we can deliver those services and we can deliver those services accurately to try and have a little bit of a cash infusion. I've also mentioned the health-related social needs work that we're into right now. And, that work is really impacting communities exponentially in terms of being, it's a brand new avenue for getting people additional case management support and housing supports. And that program itself also allows for a higher administrative cost recovery, which will help keep us secure. We are exploring the possibility of a line of credit with the bank in case we were to need to dip into that. I will say that we received some feedback from board members in one of the board sessions that that would be a non-desirable path to go down. And we are also taking a look at all of the grants that we do administer. And for those that do not pay for themselves, we are going back to the funders and asking whether or not we can modify the administrative overhead costs in order to be able to continue to serve.
Mm.
In instances where they're not able to do that, that puts us in a position where at some point in time, we'll have a discussion with the board about, is there a way for us to subsidize this program to keep it? Or should we be looking for a different organization who could administer it as well?
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Commissioner Hall, do you have any questions or comments for Mr. Vogt?
Right now, appreciate the update.
Right, thank you. So, Ryan, I just had a couple questions too.
Sure.
In that meeting we had last week, you talked about your audits and the last couple ones, you said you're working on them and with all of your different financial officers that you're having some problems merging the old accounts with the new accounts. And what do the auditors have to say about that?
Thank you for that question. That is particularly salient for the 24 audit. That was when we switched between two different accounting systems, and that is one of the major barriers to us getting this particular one across the finish line. We don't anticipate we're going to have that same level of problem with the 25 audit because we ramped down that system on a June 30th, and our fiscal year starts July 1. So the intent was fantastic. That you would have a clean break and you would start your audit in the new year. For reasons I can't explain, after shutting down the system, there were numerous financial transactions over the course of the next 6 months to a year that got recorded back into the old system. So there were journal entries back and forth, which should not have happened. They should have had a lockdown point that said, this is the close of our fiscal year. That has created real complications, not just because it's been tricky to map, but it has been tricky to identify all of those transactions that have taken place within the old system, moving to the new system. We've been working very closely with our auditor to ensure that we've got accurate details and books coming across. They have been reticent to give us a draft review of our audit right now. They proposed a month ago to give us a qualified opinion rather than an audit, and we rejected that. We're really not interested in allowing the auditor to say, well, there's certain things we can't figure out, and so we're just going to go with our best guess. We really want to know our exact position. Certainly, coming into the organization in a couple of years behind, I want to make sure that I know exactly what's going on with our financial situation.
And what is the ongoing prognosis? Do you think they're going to be able to give you a clean bill, or do you?
I think that we are going to have a completed audit report hopefully by the beginning of the year. We hopefully much earlier than that, but we do keep encountering places where there are questions coming up from our auditors. And I hate to say this out loud, but I absolutely don't believe that we're going to have a clean audit report. I'm sure there's going to be findings in there. And at a minimum, there will be findings related to some of our processes that we've already cleaned up. That there wasn't adequate controls, that some of the processes weren't being followed. I'm sure of that. So.
All right, thanks. And, state, federal government are going through some financial issues now. How are you on getting your billables up to date? I mean, are you still behind on some, or are those portals still open? And do you see those remaining open, or can you project any?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. This is one of the conversations we have regularly because that is a notable area of concern if we're unable to keep the money flowing. All of our major programs, even if they're federally funded, most of them reside, for instance, with Oregon Housing and Community Services or Oregon Health Authority, Department of Human Services. Most of those entities have been able to pull ahead lots of federal dollars, and so our funds are flowing right now. There are two that are direct federal that are always in jeopardy. One of those is Head Start. And we have not had problems drawing down on Head Start. Other Head Start entities have, and I don't know what the differentiation is, but we're not having that problem pulling down right now. And our other one is our weatherization program. We bill for that quarterly, and we receive federal funds for that. And we were able to bill for this last quarter 2 weeks ago. Our portal was still open. It's also a smaller program in terms of overall reimbursement, so it's not a huge risk area for us if that portal were to close, but that portal, we wouldn't be touching it for a couple more months.
Okay, thanks.
But that does not preclude the notion that if some of these portals close or if some of our funders otherwise have delays in processing payments for us, we could be in trouble.
Okay.
Mm.
And Head Start, Lincoln County is the only one that you help with Head Start. The other, Lynn and Benton, they have their own Head Start programs that they do in their counties.
Correct. We administer the one just for Lincoln County.
Okay, thanks. I think that's great. I think that I appreciate your time here and, going forward, we're all in the budgetary issues. And I think that, especially in the form of these reimbursement programs, I think we're all going to have to really look carefully at that and whether or not relying on those things and how to pay for things in the future, especially even though these are some very vital services, if we might need to undertake some of those ourselves. And that's something we need to look forward to, not look forward to, but look towards in the future.
Sure.
I think I'm done. Any final comments from you, Commissioner Hall?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Miller, anything else?
Just, Ryan, when do you anticipate maybe another report or update? Any ideas when we'll be looking at anything from you?
Thank you, Commissioner. Since the 9 county commissioners all sit on the board, we have regular board meetings, which I think is a place where we can actually tackle some of the nuts and bolts of the conversation that's happening. My hope would be that the next time I'm in front of you all in this venue, I'm here to talk about the great work that's happening both at CSC and at the Council of Governments without having to have a conversation about the financial status.
Yeah.
So hopefully everything continues to move in the right direction and that at the board meetings, we can talk about what that looks like. And hopefully this is just a preemptive and we don't have to have a conversation that brings me here. I suspect, though, that if we get in a place where I need to make an ask of the commissioners, this would be the venue for me to be here.
Well, Ryan, appreciate your time and also for the community's benefit. You can look at CSC's website, understand the services they provide. We are talking and asking questions here for your benefit. He's getting asked these questions by many other commissioners. So it's not the first time that it's really happening. And for us, I think this is good so people can see, how we work with CSC and that we recognize the good work CSC is doing. So thanks for taking the time on this, Ryan. And kudos to you. You are looking deep into these fiduciary controls. Watching those conversations I just want to say to people, it's remarkable how difficult it is to get inside these softwares, harder than you might think. And it's a bit perplexing, but I know you're trying to get to the bottom of it and appreciate it so much. So thanks for your time.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan, and looking forward to seeing you on a few more of the board meetings.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, we did have one decision action item that will go to appointing board chairs, acting county administrator, presented by county council.
Thank you, commissioners. This would be the third extension And this is just to ensure that continuity of operations occurs for the county. So it's the day-to-day activities that's in the county administrator job description that we would just ensure that this is going to continue and there's no gaps.
Okay, thank you for that. Any comments or questions, Commissioner Hall?
Not at the moment.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Chuck. Yeah, quite a bit to say about this. I've prepared a memo. I'll be, placing this into the record today. I think it's a very wide-ranging and deeply impactful decision to this organization. Again, here we see it in action. I just want to make sure that I'm stating what I would like to see us do is have this as a discussion item or a work session. This showed up on the agenda. It appears like yesterday. It was not on the draft agenda that went out Friday. So just more time for the entire organization to take a look at decisions like this. They really do impact everyone. It impacts our management team. It impacts our staff. And it's just deserves some care and attention. What I see it as doing is centralizing so much administrative authority into the chair position. And to be fair, I mean, we see models like this elsewhere. One example I would say is Multnomah County. I met with Commissioner Megan Moyer a number of months ago, and we talked about the dynamics of centralizing so much authority into one position. We've had so much change going on over the last year. A lot of deep change that affects this organization greatly. We've had a commissioner step down. We appointed a new commissioner. We have had an administrator step down. We've got an ethics commission investigation. A lot is going on. And what I really would like to see us do, and have recommended previously, that we kind of step back from what I see as like a cart before the horse, so to speak, and look into the framework that creates the position itself. And this is Ordinance 517. We've yet to really take a look at that in a deep way and include our management team in those conversations. There's much, again, I could continue to say about this. And I've got a memo here that's highly detailed. What I would like to see us do, my recommendation, is that we take this item to a work session and simultaneously look at Ordinance 517 and really think about this as an inclusive conversation. And when I say inclusive, what do I mean? That everybody has a seat at the table, from our staff, from our management team, and the commission, to take a look at this in more depth. That is my recommendation. Let's bring it to a standalone meeting where we can really discuss the implications and impact. And so that's where I'd like to start the conversation.
All right, thank you for that. And Commissioner Hall, you had no comments at this time or input?
Actually, I do now, Vice Chair Chuck. Commissioner Miller has brought up several things, including the ethics investigation, which he failed to mention, is happening at his initiative. I believe we need to do this, and I am ready to move forward now, because this really is codifying what has been our practice for months. And again, this hopefully will be a relatively short-term thing, not a permanent thing. This is only in the absence of a county administrator. Once the position is filled, the need to exercise this authority will go away. I know that publicly, I personally have been accused by people of somehow wanting to personally consolidate or seize power. And I think it's good that it spells out that if the chair position of the BOC changes, the new chair would take over these duties. And again, I would point out that the BOC as a whole chooses the chair. So those are my initial thoughts.
Thank you, Commissioner Hall. So I'd just like to say a few things. I did look over the duties of the administrator and also the job description. I was not on the Board of Commissioners at the time of the adoption of the transfer over to a administrative form of government. Prior to this, I'd worked with various members of the Board of Commissioners, including Wayne Belmont when he was county council. Upon his retirement, that was the decision to go to the administrative form of government. He did take on some of the duties as a administrator, but not in an official duty. I talked with former commissioners, quite a few of them, and they felt that this was the right way to go at the time. I think one of the benefits of having the administrator is having to not be involved in the day-to-day operations of the county. I see that as not one of our responsibilities as a commissioner. I think it would also allow us to work with on projects to be better informed on the needs of the county and other parts of our government. I think that by not being involved in the day-to-day operation, it allows us to work with and trust our department heads that we appoint and our other elected officials to manage their departments. I'm looking forward to the job search for a new county administrator. I think that that's something we really need to do because that is the form of government that the Board of Commissioners has chosen to go forward with. I would also maybe consider an interim for the upcoming budget season. I think it's highly important that we have another person here, whether it's interim or hopefully sooner than later, get a county administrator. We are looking at some very difficult budget times coming up with the state budget being in debt for $900+ million when the Ways and Means and in the short session. That's one of the numbers that I've been quoted. And the uncertainty of federal funds. We have mandated services that the county is to provide that are funded by federal and state money. And if those monies do not come through, we are going to have to make some decisions on our budget on how we provide for those services. So those are my comments at this time. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, may I add? You know, I am absolutely in sync with what you're saying. This is, you know, you've captured the reasons why we made the move to the administrator form of government in the first place. And I would certainly support finding an interim administrator, especially given the timing right now and our need to really gear up and prepared for what I know is going to be a very difficult process. But again, I really, you know, as I say, all this is codifying what the practice is in the moment. And I'm really not sure what would be gained by, multiple workshops, discussions, talking it to death when we need to act. I mean, we may, and this, that could drag out for weeks, and we need clear direction and policy immediately, if not sooner.
Thank you for that. Any further comments, Commissioner Miller?
Yeah, if we go back in time, when was the ordinance 517 passed, creating the administrator position? 2019. And we have not comprehensively looked at this ordinance since that time. So really what I see us doing is, you know, the mission to deliver the services to the community through this design. Yeah, we're committed. We are committed to making sure this organization is stable, but the details, if it does take time, if it takes multiple meetings, that's okay. That we include our management team to provide us some feedback and say, this is how it worked for me. This is what didn't work for me. If that takes some time, that's okay, because it's so important to get it fundamentally right. You know, prior to 2019, department heads reported directly to the commissioners. Yes, we had an administrator hybrid role, if you will, in Wayne Belmont, who arguably did a great job. But this is a different time. This is a different era. And getting, rolling up our sleeves and really taking a look at this is something I think everybody can benefit from. What we need here is definitions, and we don't have a lot of definitions yet on what those department head relationships look like, procedures, and where that M team fits into the equation, where they can give us the subject matter expertise. As you say, trust your team. Well, I do trust our team, but we haven't had the chance to actually hear from them in a very open and collaborative way to say, this is what worked for us. Didn't work for us with this administrator model. And I just don't see any risk. I only see everything to gain by having those kinds of professional conversations with our team. And I don't see that outlined here anywhere. So look, I want this organization to continue to deliver the vital services we provide. And I think it's completely okay and appropriate to talk about the details of how we get that done. And there's none of that here yet, and we still need to work on that and develop that.
All right, thank you for that.
Chuck?
Uh, yes, Commissioner Hall.
Yeah, I do not dispute what Commissioner Miller's saying. The kind of review of the position and the associated things he's talking about are perfectly valid and logical. But what this feels like to me at the moment is the courthouse is on fire. And instead of calling 911, we fiddle around trying to figure out, what happened. Where did the fire suppression system fail? Was there a faulty wiring problem? Who knows what? All things that need to be answered, but the immediate needs, I believe, have to come first.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Hall. And I just would like to say that in my 7 months as a commissioner, I have talked with many of the department heads. They have talked to me about the administrative position and their concerns going forward. Nothing has stopped them from talking to me. One thing that I think that having the administrator does is it allows us to have a better interface with the department heads. One thing that has come to my attention is when I have a discussion with a department head and they ask for my opinion on something, there's nothing to stop them from going to another commissioner and basically trying to get advice on going forward with things. And that is something that really shouldn't be happening. Before, when the board was designated to have departments, that's much different. Now, if we have one department head coming and talking to the two of us or three of us, that could be an issue with the state. So that's something that I would like to have there, to have an interface between us and the department heads. I've attended the MT meetings, And no decisions are made at these meetings, honestly. They are to provide information and to give updates. Most of the times when I talk with the department heads, they give me an update on what's going on. So I can stay informed. So when I have someone ask me a question, I can tell them what's going on, that there are a lot of good things going on. And I like to be able to put that information out when I'm asked. So at this time, is there any, going forward, I will take a motion to approve this order.
Vice Chair Chuck, I would move to approve this order as presented. And then I would, if the two of you are comfortable with bundling these two things together, or if not, I am willing to make a second motion to also direct staff to immediately begin recruitment of an interim administrator with the goal of having somebody on board by January 1, 2026.
Commissioner Hall, could you make those two separate motions?
Okay, sure. The first would be to approve these, this revision as presented.
Okay, thank you for that. We have a motion. Do we have a second? I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
So we have 2 yeses and 1 nay. Thank you. Motion passes. Would you like to make a second motion, Chair Hall?
Yes, I would like to move that the board direct staff to begin recruitment of an interim administrator immediately with all deliberate speed, with the ghost of having someone on board by January 1 of 2026.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
I'll second that one.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes.
Are you aware that there's no agreement?
All right, going on, moving forward, no commissioner reports. I would like to say for the people online,
Commissioner Chuck, so the only
Go ahead.
remaining item is the personnel rules amendment that we placed under decision action from consent.
okay. You have an update on that?
So I'll just await why it was pulled.
Is that?
I will wait discussion because Commissioner Miller pulled it and wanted to have a discussion. So
Okay,
I'll wait questions.
discussion? Commissioner Miller?
Yes. Okay. So, to recap, my request is that we have a work session or make it a discussion item in a separate meeting, that would give us, our management team, and our staff the opportunity to look at these revised personnel rules. Now, they were last amended about a year ago on November 6th. Again, these have been presented to us as a consent calendar item. I appreciate at least us moving it into the opportunity for discussion. Now, there's a lot of changes going on here. Okay. And I think a lot of them are trying to catch us up to date, and really do some good things. But you can certainly see here that some of the language changes include this board county administrator terminology, which is the order that the two of you just agreed on. So that looks to have been thought through in advance. But again, where is our opportunity for our team to really look at this and provide feedback? So, and I just have a question, Commissioner Chuck. I mean, have you already had the opportunity to look at these yourself, or is this the first time you're seeing them as well?
I did get a copy of the amended or the updated
Okay.
manual.
I mean, as you've said, you've been integrating with department heads. So, I mean, do you feel like you've had plenty of time to review this? I'm just really curious.
I will ask um, counsel on this. When when was this original personnel manual done? I saw that there were some updates to it, but there was some verbiage in it. The original, not just this updated version that was done last year.
So the updates are done yearly typically, and so it was a year ago. So the ones that are highlighted, redlined,
Mhm.
are the ones that are proposed now. And I just want to clarify that you were provided this in the packet, as were the other two commissioners
Yeah.
for review. So just to clarify, these are amendments that are related to the job duties of the HR director. And so if you were to review his job description, this is in one of his duties as a HR director. Again, day-to-day operations are usually handled by staff. That's once the county moved to that form of governance. And so when the changes that were made from board to county administrator, all of those changes are found in the job description of the county administrator, which has already been approved by the county. And that was actually in 2021, not 2019. So if there's specific questions, some of these are changes that we have to make because the law has changed. Other are updating job descriptions to reflect what is actually in the job descriptions. So the rules actually reflect who is the staff member that's responsible for those duties. So these are routine. If there aren't specific questions from Commissioner Miller, my recommendation is that these get approved.
Commissioner Hall, do you have any questions or comments?
Not at this time.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So,
Hold on, Commissioner Miller. So, Council Yule, so this is one of those things where we had just discussed about, this is the role of the HR director.
Correct.
And that if we were to go over these piece by piece, that would basically being day-to-day operations type thing. And in the past, has that been the purview to basically wordsmith a document that is presented to us from HR?
No. So if there's specific questions regarding a amendment, I can answer those,
Okay.
but I haven't heard any so far.
Okay, so are there any specific questions regarding the personnel manual?
yeah. Okay. So several sections replace boards with board/county administrator, HR director. Kenneth Lip is scrolling through the document right now. Okay. And this is redistributing administrative control. And now without prior public discussion or ordinance revision. So clarifying this delegation, I see how this will help align the policy with ordinance 517, but think that that might be approved upon. Thoughts on that, council?
So Commissioner Miller, once ordinance 517 was approved, and I actually printed out a copy and I can read some sections for you. Once that was approved, personnel rules are just being updated to reflect what has actually been approved by the board of what the commission, what a county administrator's roles are. So one of the job functions, which is in ordinance 517, and this is under authority, the county administrator shall have the specific authority to perform all day-to-day functions necessary for the administration and management of county affairs. In the job description, responsible for all aspects of county administration, staff management, such as hiring, establishing goals, performance evaluations, corrective actions, and dismissals. Oversee the development and administration of policies, procedures, programs, goals, and objectives. Personnel administration, public sector personnel policies, labor agreements, and administrative procedures. Those are all duties of a county administrator. The form of governance was approved by the county several years ago, and the personnel rules are now just updating to reflect who is responsible for these duties.
Okay.
And essentially what the practice has been for several years since we've had an administrator.
Okay.
So.
Good. Appreciate that. Taking a look at the complaint and conflict resolution pathways. The new open door and anti-retaliation provisions direct employees to HR or county counsel for complaints.
Commissioner, what page are you on? for what rule change you're looking at?
I know, I'm looking at my notes. I don't have a reference page number.
Okay.
So, Kenneth, you could, look for, open door retaliation. And again, Council Yule, I didn't anticipate, and I appreciate the scrutiny, but that's the type of thing that would have been helpful to me, because if you're looking for those, I certainly would have been more prepared for you. Okay. Okay. Core issue here. All right. And I think we've, need to be sure that if complaints
So
are
just for
HR,
Commissioner, it's
yeah.
highlighted on the board. And so there is no change for the open door policy except a pronoun change.
Okay. But would it be wise for us to put in some sort of process, if HR, if council is the subject of complaints, that at least, we have some sort of clear, impartial review pathway, if complaints identify HR and council, and I just don't see anything there, and I think we should explore that.
It is in the policy.
Okay. Please, can you expand upon that?
No, you'd have to search for it, but it is in there.
Okay. Another reason why I would like to bring this back for a more detailed discussion, so I can sit
And Commissioner
with
Chuck,
you and our HR director and go over these things.
there is a process within the manual to address those issues.
Okay. Commissioner Hall, do you have any comments?
Thank you, Vice Chair Chuck. I've got to say, frankly, I am a little concerned about the direction this is going. It sounds like Commissioner Miller wants us to get down into the kind of the fine granular details of this policy, and our discussion this morning and over the last few years as we've put this in place was that the whole intent was that is exactly what the board should not be doing, that the whole idea is to delegate personnel actions, for example, to the personnel director.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Chair Hall. Like, I was not here when this was adopted. So my view on this is when the board passed this, they basically, as Chair Hall said, delegated the authority for all these day-to-day operations to either HR or to the department heads. And that if we wish to go back and change the past, I guess we could do that. But going forward, I think that what was passed by the prior boards, giving that authority for these department heads to do their job and not have the day-to-day operations of their departments overseen by the board, that was the decision that was made, and I think that's how we should be going forward.
Okay.
Chair Hall, do you have anything to add to that?
Not right now.
Commissioner Miller?
Yeah. I do have more, Commissioner Chuck, Commissioner Hall, but I don't sense the desire to pursue it. Is that true? Do we want
Are we-
do we want to talk about this more?
What I would say is that when the board passed this measure, that was the intent was to make sure that we were not having these discussions and going over personnel matters and all these, and basically wordsmithing a document in a meeting. So I think that we should trust our HR manager, and to do this, that's enough from the audience, and allow him to do his job.
I am looking for a collaborative exercise between you, Commissioner Hall, myself, legal and staff. I am interested in strengthening our systems and reinforcing a culture of respect, trust, and accountability. You know, that is why, again, if we took the time to roll up our sleeves and discuss this together, I think we would all benefit from it. Commissioner Chuck.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
At this time, I'll take a motion to approve the personnel rules.
Mr. Chuck, I move for approval of the personnel rules as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
No.
I'll
further.
second that motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
No.
We have 2 yeas and 1 nay. Motion passes. I saw no commissioner reports in the packet. For those online, just a reminder that we have a form that was made available on the county website 2 weeks ago to provide public comment at this meeting. As with written comment, the form needs to be submitted by 12 p.m. the previous day of the meeting.
Can I show them where that is?
Yeah, please show that.
So for those who would like to offer public comment via Zoom, you can find the form to fill out to do so by going to the homepage of our website. Under Government, you'll find Board of Commissioners. Then there is Attending a Meeting. And then under Attending a Meeting, you've got listed all of the several options you have for submitting public comment, including this new form. And this is what it looks like. If anybody has any questions or trouble with this, they can email me at public_affairs@co.lincoln.or.us. Thank you.
Thank you. And we had no submittals for this meeting. Okay, at this time, we'll do public comment. You have 3 minutes. Please observe the rules. Thank you. We'll call Deborah Fant up.
Is it possible to be put later in the queue?
I'm just taking them as they came in, so you've been called up.
I'm not sure how to run these.
Just make sure it's red.
Oh, okay. Good.
Okay.
My name is Deborah Fant. I'm from Waldport, Oregon. I'm a longtime person in the county. And I guess the reason that I'm here today is to observe. And I'm also here in support of some things that will be said after I speak. So it's a little like reading the book backwards. What I would suggest is that I would like to leave this book for you, Commissioner Chuck, because I think you're the one person who probably is not in the loop of some of the history of this county. And I'm speaking towards the use of toxic chemicals by governments, by industry, and that sort of thing. I have worked very hard on protecting our county from aerial spraying of toxins in the past. And that is something that I feel very strongly about, and not just an emotional way, but from a biochemical way. This is a book that outlines the experience of residents of the Five Rivers community in our county. And some of those people are here today. Some of them have not gotten the right to sit in the chair and give testimony today. So I would very much like to know that as our commissioners, you will take seriously the issues of continued spraying of toxic chemicals without notice in that neighborhood, without permission of those people to have their properties and their apple trees and other food growing garden spaces vulnerable to toxic chemicals. I mean, who among us would like to have that happen? I would also say that continuing to do those kinds of behaviors by our roads and department people is a very big, I could use a colorful expression, but I won't. It's a disrespect of the people who live there and who have been seriously harmed by Agent Orange back in the 70s. So I'm going to leave this for you, and I would really appreciate if you'd at least take some time to read some of the personal stories in here. There's a great deal of information about the chemicals, and this was written about in the 70s, so some of those things need updating, but they're still not safe. It's like,
Thank you. Just give that book to Mr. Lip.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you. Next, we have Carol Van Strum.
I'm the beginning of the story that Deb was starting to tell you. I'm Carol Van Strum. I'm the author of the book. Where did it go? Oh, yeah, there is a new edition of the book with much more current information in it. What it details is the efforts of my community, the people of Five Rivers, which is way out in the boonies of Lincoln County. And I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but there's approximately 52 households in our valley. All of them have signed a petition asking you, the commissioners, to order Mike Duwan, I don't know how you pronounce his name, who is responsible for the roadside spraying in Lincoln County, not to spray our community again. It had not been sprayed since 1981 because the previous director, or whatever he's called, of county road maintenance understood our background. We had sued the federal government on several occasions and successfully halted the use of all the poisons, a lot of them still used, on the national forests surrounding our place. And he was aware of that and never sprayed our roadside. They came out and mowed it twice a year, and it was sufficient. Lane County, which own part of our road is in Lane County, they don't bother to spray. They just come out and mow. So there is no reason to do it. And I think it's an added expense that you can spare the county, since they're going to come and mow anyway. They even with their spray program, they come out and mow twice. Actually, this year they came out 3 times and mowed. So this year was the first time since 1981, without any notice to us or opportunity to opt out. Mike Duwan, is that how you pronounce his name?
Dewan.
Just sent his spray trucks out and poisoned part of our properties because the road goes through our properties. And there's no way you can control where that stuff goes. It goes into the river, it goes into the water table, and it also drifts. And I can attest to that because it killed a number of our fruit trees this year. So it's a serious problem that I hope you will take account of, because Mike Duwan said you're the only ones who can change it. So I thank you for paying attention to it. Also, just so you know, there's a newer edition of the book There's also a film based largely on it that's going to be shown in Lincoln County at the
Ms. Van Strom,
Yachats, what's it called? The Commons,
okay. I
on
appreciate your time. and-
November 15th.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Debbie Kozar-Deuce.
Thank you, Commissioners, for allowing us to speak. I want to thank Commissioner Chuck for doing a great job. And Commissioner Claire, please continue to get well and return to us soon. Diver Herrera wrote a very heartbreaking plea to our DA. He found Dane, the child who accidentally drowned in Siletz. He thinks it's a very wrong thing to charge the father. An accident like that can happen in minutes, easily, as all parents know. I'm not saying they weren't careless, but does it rise to the level of criminal negligence? No. The DA had the discretion, to charge the father when his son has accidentally drowned. The DA had the discretion to take it to the grand jury. If it's all about holding people accountable, then why haven't charges of child neglect or the abuse of a corpse been filed against the parents of Haley May Koblenetz, Coblentz? They left her body at a rest stop in a duffel bag here in Lincoln County. It was found December 10th, 2020. The parents never reported her missing. They were charged with murder then. In 2022, the charges were dropped suddenly. Why? The article in KOIN.com says charges could be filed in the future, but that hasn't happened. Why does the DA's office, when a case of a child found dead in a duffel bag, fail to hold those individuals accountable, not even with a charge of child neglect? But she has charged child neglect in a case of an accidental drowning. Do you think it's an accident that you put a child in a duffel bag and leave it at a rest stop? No, that's wrong. The DA could still bring charges instead of focusing on this poor family in Siletz, who are going to have to live with the loss of their son in this accidental death for the rest of their lives. The whole discussion today regarding the HR is because Commissioner Casey is being held accountable by HR. It's not retaliation, but a requirement he go through mediation with the office he created the problem with. He has refused to do so, which proves that he is unfit. And Casey, Chuck, isn't Casey, Commissioner, the head of the department, managing the Department of the Spraying for the county? So any decisions that have been done by Dwayne should have been known by Casey, who is also a dear friend of him.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Jenna Wallace.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I again wanted to start by congratulating and welcoming the 3 new employees that Lincoln County has hired in the Transit Department, the Juvenile Department, and the Finance Department. Welcome. I am here again today asking for the Board of Commissioners to grant exceptions to the hiring freeze for 4 key public safety positions within the District Attorney's Office. As I stated 4 weeks ago, the District Attorney's Office has 10 vacant positions, with 9 of those positions currently frozen by either Commissioner Chuck and Commissioner Hall or the Human Resources Director, David Collier. I'm not quite sure who has the authority right now. Since I last spoke, Human Resources has removed another employee from my office and placed them on administrative leave over my objection, bringing the total number of unoccupied positions in my office to 11. Over the past 6 months, I have repeatedly requested freeze exceptions citing public safety necessity. However, those requests have been denied or ignored without any discussion and without public hearing. Today, I'm again requesting exceptions for 2 general fund deputy district attorney positions, a detective position, and the executive chief position. I want to make it clear, as it appears there was confusion when I spoke previously, that I am not asking for any additional positions or funding. I am simply advocating for the ability to use the budget provided to me and to hire personnel into already established and approved positions adopted by you through the 2025-2026 budget process. The district attorney's office is not responsible for the $4 million deficit and has consistently underspent over the past decade, contributing hundreds of thousands of dollars back to the general fund at the end of every budget cycle. My request for exceptions for 4 key public safety positions leaves 4 other positions in my office frozen to assist in resolving the county-created budget deficit. This seems to be a reasonable compromise to promote public safety while also balancing the budget. Without adequate resources, staffing, and the ability to hire employees, criminal prosecution in Lincoln County will be severely impacted. If the Board of Commissioners continue to prevent the District Attorney's Office from hiring employees into these 4 key public safety positions, it will directly impact our ability to protect our community, to hold offenders accountable, and to seek justice for victims. At this time, I would ask that the Board of Commissioners vote to approve an order today to immediately unfreeze the 4 key public safety positions previously listed and to allow the District Attorney's Office to initiate hiring into these 4 positions immediately. And I do have an order prepared.
Commissioner Chuck, I would like to respond to this.
No, we don't respond to public comment.
Well, we can. Walter, it's okay.
No, we don't respond to public comment. Thank you.
I ask the Commissioner right now to move to approve this order.
I'll make a motion to approve this order.
We don't make motions unless it's on the agenda. So I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Commissioner Chuck, when you first were hired, I sat down and met with you. Do you remember that? Mr. Lip was there as well. You wouldn't meet with me alone, and you haven't met with me since. And the 2 things that you told me at that meeting that have really stuck with me is that you don't believe your role as a commissioner is to manage this county. You believe your role is to be the face of Lincoln County and to hire someone to manage the county. But the problem at this point is that your inaction to manage this county is a detriment to our community. It's impacting people's lives. And at some point, you have to decide whether or not you actually want to be a leader here in Lincoln County or whether or not you want the title and the paycheck.
Thank you. Stephanie Chamberlain.
Hi, thank you for having me. I just wanted to do a point of clarification. I did use Smart Sheets and I think you responded to me. So was that supposed to be in there?
Sorry?
I used Smart Sheets and I did apply a public comment and you responded that it would be put on the record. I'm just confused.
It's included in the written public comment. The Smart Sheet is not for requesting agenda items.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just like if you put it on, it was on the agenda. It was going to be put there. Okay.
There's a document on the agenda that says public comment 11/5/25 and it's in there.
Okay. Okay. Well, anyways, hi, my name is Stephanie Chamberlain. I am a resident of Siletz and I live outside of the city limits. I'm also a Siletz tribal member. I'm here today about the Siletz law enforcement. So that budget that was, if you're aware, passed, I think in 2017. And what it did is it kind of adopted the Siletz Rural Fire District to pay the taxes of the city of Siletz to get police in that area. It's very costly. And so I've been going through and I was trying to get financials, which I commend you for finally getting financials out there. I saw an audit signed for October 9th for 2024. So I was able to go through and look at those budgets, and this budget started out at $440,000 a year. And it has ballooned up to 2016 to $1.1 million with a contingency of $680,000. And then I was noticing that the committee, it's not really transparent as far as the financials for the law enforcement. We're starting to add more things to it, probably because we have a contingency. And one of the people that sit on that budget committee is also an agent of the tribe. And I think that's a little bit conflicting. It's Lisa Norton. And I think that that needs to be a little more transparent to the people outside of the service district. Because when I was looking at the goals of the Siletz law enforcement, there's nothing out there for people that live outside of the city of Siletz. I can't go to the city of Siletz and give public comment because I don't live there, but I am subsidizing the services in that area. And I don't mind paying for police if I'm getting something also out of this, but it's literally supposed to be for 2 FTE patrol officers, and that's it. We just did a budget of increasing them for overtime, nights out, but there's nothing to people outside of the service district. So I think what I would like to do is per budget law, because you can actually ask for a lower levied amount below the permanent rate. So I think that levy needs to be levying taxes lower than the $1.32 per 1,000 assessed, because it's a lot. You guys are making money off of us outside there. So a $680,000 contingency is bigger than what the expenses are. Also, I'd like to say that the tribe is supposed to pay 50% of that budget. And they right now, per your guys' financials, owe you about $116,000 because they have not been paying 50% of that budget. The reason I say this is I worked in government accounting for probably 20 years, so it was easy to go through those and comb through there. But that would balloon this 2026 budget up to $1.2 million if the tribe paid their fair share. And the reason the tribe should pay their fair share is because they have citizens living there that get to vote on these levies that do not live on and they live on sovereign land. So they are not assessed any taxes. They're not paying into the system, but they get to participate and have the benefits of it. So the tribe should be paying their fair share. So I urge the county to go after and go through those financials because they owe you $116,000. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Stephanie. Next up, we have Mark Watkins.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am just very grateful that we have, all of us here have the freedom of engaging in the process of our government. And that's why we're here, because it's our civic duty. I want to talk again about the importance of common knowledge. What common knowledge does, Commissioner Chuck, is it eliminates any process of assumption. And in my course of life, assumptions are typically and always wrong and cause me problems. So there's one issue here that I want to really clear up for the record, and that is involving the investigation of Commissioner Miller's code of conduct, allegedly where he just acted inappropriately as a county commissioner. And so this is good. This form here, which I believe cost about $40,000 to $60,000. Again, I'm assuming because nobody will tell me. This is from an independent law firm in Portland. And if there's an allegation of impropriety, it needs to be investigated. We all did the right thing. We're going to investigate Commissioner Miller's behavior. So I have copies here for anybody that wants to dispute the actuality of his accusations, because that's why we have investigations. That's why we pay tax dollars to investigate impropriety and potential wrongdoing. After the assumption is cleared up, we all have an understanding of what the rule should be and how I'm going to process this information in my brain. You can convince me all day long that 2 + 2 is 5. And if I'm going to try to convince myself in my brain that it's not 4, I'm going to have some issues. My friends are probably going to try to send me to a psychiatrist. I'm going to have a difficult time sleeping because the evidentiary facts is 2 + 2 is 4. So here's the facts, Commissioner Chuck. If you're not aware of the investigation into Casey Miller's allegations, and it was dated in January 2025. And I'm going to paraphrase because unfortunately my eyes don't work very well, but that's okay. Because I had somebody read this to me because, again, I do not want to assume anything about the allegations into a pretty serious investigation. And on the back here, there are bullet points. And Commissioner Miller was not all squeaky clean because he did mention a previous county employee's health situation. Didn't go into detail, but he just said he's not here because of health issues. Probably shouldn't have done that. It states right here, this is what he was guilty of. But it does say that Commissioner Miller has zero evidence that he committed any allegations of a faulty workplace, hostile work environment. Zero, none, none, zero evidence. And on January 22nd of 25, he went on public record and publicly apologized to any county employee, to anybody sitting before me, anybody that he may have offended. He publicly apologized. And even after this, he is still not allowed to come into this courthouse to work.
Thank you, Mr.
And-
Watkins.
Still.
Mr. Watkins, you've had your 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine Hutchins.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is
Morning.
Christine Hutchins from Otter Rock. Every meeting I attend, I hear the Lincoln County residents during public comments ask, "Can you hear me?" You always respond, "You can." However, what they should be asking is, are you actually listening? And are you ever going to respond to the questions that are raised? The answer, of course, is a resounding no. I'm still waiting for answers from June 4th, a full 5 months ago. I'm also waiting to see the county council investigated for slandering 4 county employees. You can look down, but trust me, everybody's going to know.
Just make sure you
Sitting
rest
judge,
here.
a sitting DA, her husband, and a sitting commissioner with absolutely no regard for their privacy to 2 Lincoln County residents in the county offices on June 4th. The other party's in the room right now. Enforcement of the county personnel rules, Article 12, should be enforced on all county employees and elected officials evenly, even though you are trying to change them here, which I find very curious, with no discrimination. During our collection of signatures for 90 days, I've spoken to thousands of people throughout the county, thousands. They say they see what you're doing, they don't like what they're doing, and they want to see it changed. So when you slam citizens here, remember, people are watching, even if you do have the video off. They see discriminatory investigations and retaliatory behaviors against some employees, while other employees like county council and the BOC chair skate free. Rules for thee, but not for me. So my question today is, how much tax money, while you attempt to burden us with extra property taxes, are you spending on outside legal counsel to include the $65,000 you spent on the investigation of Commissioner Miller? And how much more money are you spending on investigations of employees who won't bend the knee? I would like the figure for 2025 and 2024. This is a formal request for information, Mr. Lipp, and I will be following up with you in writing today. I'd also like to know who approved the spending of the Miller investigation. Where was it budgeted? When was the vote taken to proceed? Hopefully not behind closed doors. Please provide all receipts. Lastly, as you're now being investigated for serial meetings behind closed doors, when can Lincoln County residents expect to actually hear discussions on items as they appear at the last moment on the agenda? Just like the meeting, the personnel rules appeared just recently. You're ramming things through with zero constituent input or comments. This is not legal, and as a taxpayer, I expect much better. Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara Davis.
I have flyers for People versus Agent Orange
Mm.
in Y'all Huts, November 15th. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Barbara Davis, Waldport. I am not a fan of social media and the delusional rantings by certain members of the community that it facilitates. Rantings that are, to use Judge Immergut's words, simply untethered to the facts. To illuminate the facts that are relevant to the ongoing issues plaguing the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners, I'd like to highlight a few. Fact: the Oregon Government Ethics Commission investigators' review found substantial objective basis that public meeting laws were violated by the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners. Fact: the Oregon Government Ethics Commission voted unanimously to investigate commissioners' votes on hiring decisions done outside public meetings. Fact. At the October 15th meeting, Commissioner Miller proposed discussing a resolution related to the Ethics Commission's investigation. Commissioner Chuck, acting as the chair, refused Commissioner Miller's proposal, stating that it is not on the agenda. Fact. Since July 2024, Commissioner Miller has submitted over 30 agenda requests that have not been placed on the public meeting agenda. Fact. There is no Oregon law that authorizes a county commissioner to be prevented from occupying his office. Fact. An outside investigation of Commissioner Miller found him innocent of bullying fellow employees. Fact. Commissioner Miller has not been allowed to use his office with the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners Department for over 1 year. Instead, we, the taxpayers, are footing the bill for an additional office down the street. The cost for that additional office, unused by Commissioner Miller, is costing taxpayers $325 a month, or $3,900 a year. Fact. Commissioner Miller was duly elected by the people of Lincoln County. Fact. Commissioner Walter Chuck was appointed, not elected. Fact. Commissioner Chuck, acting as chair at the previous meeting, denied District Attorney Jenna Wallace permission to speak during the public comments period because she had not signed the public comment sheet prior to the start of the meeting. Fact. Commissioner Chuck permitted an online Zoom audience member to speak his public comment despite having just moments before raised his virtual hand. I myself have arrived late to the Board of Commissioners meetings multiple times and have been allowed to speak. Fact. DA Jenna Wallace was duly elected by a vote of the people of Lincoln County. The point I'm making is this: facts matter.
Thank you. That's the end of public comment. I'm ending the meeting at 11:47. Thank you.